Have any connections with Dave Aranda before taking the job here?
Yes, sir. So I've known Coach Aranda probably for the last 4 years. When he got to LSU and I was coaching in the state of Louisiana, we started developing a relationship, whether it was professional development and going to LSU to talk in the off season, or it was working camps at LSU in the summertime. Over the last 4 years, we've developed a relationship, and so we knew each other when he took the job here at Baylor.
Your first impressions once you got here to Baylor and saw what you have to work with?
Oh man, really excited. I was telling somebody earlier, the team speed here is something that jumps out, when you watch tape of really all three phases last year. The effort that those guys played with, the discipline that those guys played with, but they played really, really hard. So that's something that, we want to continue to build on here is, playing hard, playing with great effort, being the most tenacious team that takes the field in regards to defense and special teams. So,
coaching safeties in this league, you got to have some pretty good ones, don't you?
That's exactly right. This is a league that likes to spread you out and throw the ball, and there's a lot of team speed, right? You got to have good secondary players, whether that's safeties or corners. You got to be able to cover people, and you got to be able to get after the quarterback as well. So, hopefully, we'll work together with the D-line, the linebacker, all groups, and make sure that we put a good product out on the field.
When it comes to safeties, cornerbacks, what's more important, speed or tenacity?
Well, I think it's got to be a mixture of both, right? You can't be slow but be really aggressive and eager to hit, and you can't be extremely fast but soft, at the point of attack. So I think a great combination of both, right? That's probably the easy answer. But if I had to pick, right, one or the other, I'm an old fullback, right? So in my mindset would be the more aggressive guy. But to be honest, you probably want to make sure in this league particularly that you got some guys that can run and have that speed.
It's not only speed and tenacity, it also may be just football sense.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's no question about that. And when you have football smarts, a lot of times you can take a guy that's maybe from an athletic standpoint a little bit lesser of an athlete, but he plays faster than the guy that, doesn't pick it up as much or isn't quite as swift, from a football IQ standpoint. You're exactly right. The football IQ here is something else that I've really been impressed with in some of the one-on-one conversations, some of the meetings that we've had with our players. You can tell that the football IQ here is higher maybe than some places that I've been in the past.
Tell me your impressions of the safeties, cornerbacks that you have to work with once you got here at Baylor.
Yeah, so particularly the three safeties last year that did play were J.T. Woods, Christian Morgan, and McVay. I think those three were probably the highest in snap totals last year. And those three guys at times played significant, amount of snaps in critical situations. Those three guys will bring back a little bit of experience, and from an athletic standpoint, they're pretty impressive. Their length, their speed, their change of direction, and they're all high football IQ guys. And then there's some young guys maybe that haven't stepped foot on the field yet, who I think are going to be able to help, as well as some signees, that we brought in with this past class that will be able to add to what we have already. But early on, have been impressed, and we'll be able to evaluate and see a lot more once spring ball gets here in a few weeks.
Matt, thanks for your time. Welcome to Baylor and White there.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Okay, y'all have come from several different coaching staffs, and you're all working together for the first time. Have you discussed how you think the secondary coverage will change from what they're doing, or stick with what you're doing, or what?
Yeah, so there's some schematic differences, maybe in what the old defensive staff did. And maybe what we plan on doing. There's also some similarities in some of the calls and some of the things that we'll do. So I think that transition, there'll be a little bit of learning curve for some of the guys. Some of the guys that played a little bit more, though, there won't probably be quite as learning curve because, like I said, there are enough similarities in there to where we're not going from black to white. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now, as the special teams coach, you're going to be because a lot of guys get their first time on the field as special teams. So you're going to be kind of the kindergarten teacher for the young guys, aren't you?
Yeah, it works that way sometimes, you know. That's how some of the younger guys make their first mark, and right, they get on the field early on in their careers by contributing on special teams, and that's fun. You know, that challenges me to be a good teacher, right? Something that I take a lot of pride in. So I look forward to that, you know, as some of these young guys, whether they're freshmen or sophomores that maybe haven't played as much, you know, looking to contribute. So I take pride in that for sure.
The last coaching staff was real big on, they call them tweeners, guys that could go back, play safety, move up, play linebacker, or maybe even go up and go as defensive end. Do you see that playing into the current scheme?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great to have those guys that can do a little bit of both, and I can see exactly what you're talking about just based on some of the body types that we have on our team and the athleticism that they have, right? Some of our bigger guys are very athletic, and some of our guys are very versatile based on what you've seen them already put on tape. So that'll be very beneficial to what we do, you know, as well from a defensive standpoint.
Does having those guys help you disguise what you're doing on defense?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. And we're a defense that's very, very multiple and likes to use disguises, you know, against offenses. So that'll be really beneficial for us.
Okay. Hey, Coach, I really appreciate you coming in here.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Waco.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, good to meet you. Yeah, absolutely. Everything